Well, it feels good to be back in the captain's chair. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to After Prison Show. And today, I shouldn't probably be as happy as I am today, considering the cleaning business is officially out of business today. I spent this entire past weekend being depressed and in my feelings about this, feeling like I'm a failure, feeling like I lost. And after doing a lot of thinking about this, the biggest realization that I've come to is that not everything that you try in life is going to succeed. Not everything that you think is going to be a good thing is going to turn out to be just that. And sometimes in life, in fact, probably more times than not, you are going to fail. And it's a humbling thing being able to accept that. And this is probably going to be the last video I ever do about the cleaning business. I know a lot of you are probably excited to hear that. We've done a lot of vlogs showcasing all of the work that we've been out there doing, and more times than not showcasing all of the mess ups and things that we've had to go back and fix, and just all of the crazy trouble and stress that this cleaning business has been since I began it. But with the fact that this is going to be the last video, I want to share with you guys 10 things that I learned from a successful business that failed. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, how could it have been a successful business if it did in fact fail? And the reason that I say it was successful is because we had the work. We had a lot of work, in fact, and it could have been successful, but it wasn't. And in turn, it ended up failing. But with all of that, the reason that I want to do this video is for anybody out there who's thinking about starting a business, especially a cleaning business, but this could pertain to any type of business. You know, when you're locked up, one big thing that guys will think about when they come home is starting their own business. So this is especially for anybody that rocks with After Prison Show who might find themselves in this position, wanting to start a business. But you don't have to have been to prison for this video to be something that you probably are going to find insightful. And what I truly hope by me sharing all of these things with you, these 10 things that I learned from a successful business that failed, is I hope that what I share with you in this video is something that you can take heed to, so that if you do start your own business, you won't fail. And one other thing that I want to throw out there real quick before I go any further is I don't want it to seem like a cleaning business is going to fail. You know, there's tons of cleaning businesses out there that are successful. So don't think that this isn't something that you could succeed at. However, it's a good idea to keep these 10 things in mind that I'm getting ready to share with you, so that if you do decide to start a cleaning business or any other type of business, you'll stand a better chance of succeeding instead of failing. So it's with all of that I mentioned that, what do you say we get back to doing something I love to do? We haven't done so often. We've only started to just barely get back to doing it here. Dive head first into this video. Where do I even begin? I've got a list of 10, if not more things. I probably could have made this video 50 things that I learned from this business. But I'm gonna stick with the 10 things that I've written down. 10 things that I think are highly important, very important, and 10 things that you absolutely have to pay mind to so that you won't end up failing. And also, if you're wondering how the successful After Prison Show cleaning business failed, it was because I personally didn't take heed to all of or most of these 10 things that I'm getting ready to share with. Starting with this very first thing. Your people are everything. The people that you employ are the backbone of your business. And I learned that throughout the entire 4 or 5 months that we were operational with this cleaning service. You have got to employ a strong team. And you can't just go hiring any old Joe Schmo off of the street thinking that that person can clean. You know, I was of the illusion that anybody can clean. This isn't rocket science that we're doing. We don't work for Tesla. This is a cleaning business. How hard could it possibly be? But I would learn, and it would be also something that an awesome supporter of After Prison Show would tell me, and it is very true. Not everybody can clean. Not everybody can clean. There is a method to cleaning, especially when you got a business doing it. And you can't just hire any old person thinking that they're going to be able to get the job done, trusting them to be able to get the job done, especially if they don't have any prior experience doing it. So with that, your best bet is to try to employ people who have cleaning experience, who have their own supplies, who have their own transportation, so they can go wherever you have work at. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. With the fact that there are so many cleaning businesses out there, so many cleaning companies, finding good, reliable, experienced cleaners isn't always going to be the easiest thing to do. In the 4 or 5 months that we were operational, we probably ran through 30 or 40 people. And most of the reason for that was because they had no experience cleaning, or they didn't show up, or they only worked for part of the day. I learned that if you pay somebody before the job gets done, they don't care. They're just going to leave. I literally had a cleaner threaten to kill another employee of the cleaning company. Finding good, solid people to employ is absolutely critical. The second lesson that I learned from all of this is be a boss. You have got to be the boss. If you run a company, if you start a company, you're the boss. And you have to be that. You've got to be firm with people, but not too firm. And one thing that I tried to pride myself on was being absolutely above and beyond fair with the people that I employed. But that's not always the best strategy. At least I don't personally think that it is. Because if you're too fair and too giving, sometimes the people that you employ, especially if you've got all the wrong people working for you in the first place, they're going to walk all over you and take advantage of that. And you're not going to be able to pay them enough to ensure that they get the work done. Be firm in your position that you are the boss and they are employed by you to do and complete and do right a specific job. The third valuable lesson that I learned from all of this, and this is going to sound silly, and this is a big part of where I went wrong, but you have got to check the work that the people who are working for you are doing. You've got to inspect it. You got to make sure that it's done correctly. And if it's not done correctly, you need to have those people go back and correct those wrongs without paying them anything extra. In my particular business, I wasn't doing a whole lot of inspecting. I personally didn't have the time to, but that's no excuse. The work has to be inspected, because if you're not inspecting what your employees are doing, they're going to begin to cut corners. They're going to walk into cleans that look like they could be easy cleans, and they're going to just try to breeze through that thing as quickly as they possibly can so that they can get on to the next one and get as much money from you as they possibly can. And with the cleaning business, it is all in terms of how you pay folks. And it's really a double-edged sword. You know, you either pay them by the job that they do, or you pay them by the hour. And I chose to pay my employees by the jobs that they were doing. I felt that strategically that was the best way to go about it. I tried to give them the most that I possibly could in terms of that pay as well. Because if you pay cleaners by the hour, they're going to take all day to get one clean done. And if you've got multiple cleans that need to get done in a day, there were times when we had upwards of 12 cleans in a single day. You're not going to be able to get all of the work that you have done paying folks by the hour. But no matter what, regardless, no matter how you choose to do it, there's probably a better way than I was doing it, because again, I failed. But regardless of how you choose to do it, you have got to check the work after those workers. You need a checklist. They need to be checking it off, signing that checklist. And if something's not done correctly, they need to go back out there and correct it. Me personally, I was waiting until we were getting called back by the individual properties or places where we were doing this work at, and I was having to pay somebody else even more money to go out there and fix what was initially done wrong. So with the fact that we already weren't making all that much money, if any really, we were losing even more money by not inspecting the work. Number 4 is a valuable lesson that I just personally learned, and it's gonna cost me. Make sure you have insurance. The funny damn thing about it is I had insurance on the company. I got $1 million liability insurance on a cleaning company. Thinking to myself while getting this insurance that I was only paying $35 a month for, what could possibly go wrong with a cleaning business? I mean, I guess there are things that could go wrong, and I would most certainly learn that a person getting injured on the job wasn't what I was going to be on the hook for. In fact, what it would come in the form of damages. Using bleach to clean a door that would end up getting all over brand new carpet, and right now, I've got people out there looking at how much this is going to cost for me to fix this. I had insurance, but the damnedest thing about it was we were moving so fast and having so much to do on a daily basis that of the 6 properties we were doing work at, I had 4 of them covered under the insurance, and there were 2 I just never had the time to get around to. And I'll be damned if it wouldn't be one of those 2 that I didn't have insurance on that would end up getting these damages. Insurance is absolutely critical to any type of a business. And again, like I said, I got $1 million liability insurance for $35 a month. Get the insurance. Number 5 is just as important to anything else that I've mentioned already or will mention in this video, and also something that you really need to hear, and that is you're going to need some money to start you a cleaning business. You might not think that you will. All you need is a vacuum cleaner, some rags, some cleaning supplies. I mean, what kind of overhead really goes into a cleaning business? But I can tell you the biggest expense that you will have is going to be in payroll. Making sure that you have money to be able to pay your employees while you're waiting on checks. Because if you go work for big corporate places or buildings or offices or wherever you go, you know these places have anywhere between 30 and 90 days to pay you. And that's a long time to be waiting to get paid. There were so many times where I came out of my own pocket to make sure that the payroll was covered. I know for a fact I haven't seen any profit in the 4 or 5 months that I was running the business. And in terms of how much money you probably need to start a cleaning business, this is just my personal opinion. I know there's going to be people who disagree with this, but you probably need anywhere between $2,000 to $10,000 until you're able to get on your feet and start seeing those checks rolling in on a regular basis. You know, it's funny because we were just getting to the point where we had the checks rolling in on a regular basis. And it's crazy to think that this thing still failed, but it did. If you don't have that type of money to start a business, then what you absolutely have to do is you have to do cash jobs. You have to do jobs where you're getting paid at the end of that job. Job's complete, I need that pay. Because there's no other way that you're going to be able to operate, not only being able to take some money for yourself, which you'll be lucky if you're able to do that at all, but more importantly, to pay your employees. Who's going to work for free? Who's going to work knowing that they got to wait 30 to 90 days before they can get paid? I'm quite sure your workers will go elsewhere. Number 6 was a hard lesson for me to learn, but one that I learned nonetheless, and this is super important. It's going to sound absolutely crazy. It sounded crazy to me when people were telling me, Joe, you don't need to do that. You better be careful of that right there. I'm trying to tell you, don't take on more work than you can handle. When you start a business, the most exciting thing in the world is landing new work. Getting a bid that went through, you've been approved to do this job. You just know you're gonna make some money from that. Taking on new clients. Oh, you need 3 things cleaned tomorrow and they need 5 and I've only got 2 cleaners? I had the hardest time with this. I was taking on anything. Everything that was being thrown in our way, I was saying, yes, we can get it done. When in reality, we were working ourselves to death and still not getting all of the work done. And one thing that happens when you take on more work than you can handle and you definitely don't have enough workers to do it, yet they're telling you, oh, I'll get 3 things done today, it ain't no problem. Is people begin to cut corners. People begin to rush through things. Things get missed, the littlest things, which could be the biggest things. Window blinds, windows, tops of refrigerators, behind stoves, washers and dryers. Things get missed. Corners get cut and they are on to the next one. Let me get this first unit done in 2 hours, which really probably would need 4 hours. Do the second unit in 3 hours, which really probably needs 4 hours as well. That's already 8 hours. You definitely don't want to take on more work than you can handle, especially at first. And especially if you don't have the crew that can get the work done. If you've got 20 cleaners, then by all means, take on everything because you're going to be able to get it done, especially if those cleaners are good, especially if they're experienced. And you know, here's something crazy to think about. With you taking on more work than you can handle and it being such a great feeling when all this work starts getting dumped in your lap, taking on more work than you can handle could end up being the reason why eventually you don't have work because the work that you're being given is not being done professionally or correctly. So it's with all that we've talked about with the 6th thing that brings us to the 7th thing, and something also that was personally hard for me to understand and also do. Something that I rarely ever did. In fact, the very first time that I did this was over this past weekend when I realized that this business was failing and it was time to close down shop. And number 7 is, don't be afraid to say no. If people are throwing work on you and you know that there's no realistic way that you're going to be able to get those jobs done, you are going to absolutely have to say no. Can't do it. I'm saying we're all booked up for today. We could do it tomorrow or we could do it Friday, but today we can't do it. I never wanted to be that business that said no. I wanted to be that company that was there for you at the drop of a hat. If you need us at 12 o'clock midnight, we're going to be there. I never said no. And as simple as that sounds, that was probably a big reason why we did end up failing. Number 8 was a pretty ironic thing that I would see on a daily basis, especially in the beginning. In the beginning when I was trying to get the business established and, you know, we were just up and coming, definitely saw this. But this was something that I would see even far beyond the beginning. I would see this all throughout the 4 or 5 months that we were operational. And that is that with any type of a business, especially a cleaning business, maybe not all businesses, but when you start a cleaning business, you're going to always find yourself in one of 2 categories. Either not having enough work and having too many cleaners, or having too much work and not enough cleaners. It is a conundrum, a double-edged sword, a catch-22. A cleaning business is always going to be in one of those 2 categories until if by some crazy way You're able to balance everything out. I personally was never able to do that. I was never able to hire enough good workers in the end to keep up with the workflow. And in the beginning, I was never able to keep enough work to hold on to the good workers who we started out with. It's crazy to think about that. Number 9, keep your books right. I took notes. I wrote everything down. I had text messages. I had day planners, receipt books. I had Intuit. I had TurboTax. I had everything. But it seemed no matter how much I had, it was never enough to keep up with everything. On my day planner, we would schedule the work. I would put the cleaner's name next to it, how much I paid the cleaner, and it was never enough. I'm scratching it out. Okay, that cleaner can't do this. I got to move on to this cleaner, and it would get confusing. And you know, I've really mentioned this, especially because of this past week where a cleaner told me that I didn't give her enough money. And I know damn well that I did. So I ended up giving her even more money. And it was because there was so much confusion in my books that I wasn't able to convince myself, for one, that I was right. Maybe I was wrong. I won't say that I wasn't. There's a possibility I was. But I was as meticulous as I could be with my books, who was doing what was scheduled for what day. But keeping a schedule is going to be it sounds simple. I'm telling you, these simple things that I'm mentioning are detrimental to running a business. There were times when I wrote down the wrong unit number. I walked up in people's apartments. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, my God, thank God you weren't naked. I did that more times than I can remember. You got to keep your books right. Clean the wrong unit. That's not the unit I scheduled, Joe. Oh, wow. Boy, I'm dyslexic. Keep track of the work that you have on what day. Make sure you write it down correctly. If you scratch out somebody's name and replace it with somebody else's, make sure that you absolutely do that. Write how much you're paying them for that work. You will never succeed if you're not able to keep up with the paperwork. The final thing to make this list, and coming in at number 10, is keep this in mind always. A cleaning business is just like a landscape company. There are a million of them out there. And any one of these companies will take whatever work that you have without even giving you a second thought. It is a dog-eat-dog world in both of those two companies, and probably quite a few others as well. And not only will the competition take your work and not even give you a second thought, they're gonna underbid you to the absolute max. So really keep that in mind, especially if you're thinking about starting your own business. Can you honestly, feasibly, realistically afford to get the job done when Joe Schmo over here is willing to do the clean for $30? You can't. And some jobs you are absolutely going to have to walk away from. It's going to be great to get that work. It's going to be great to know that people want to give you an opportunity to prove yourself. But some jobs, just like some people, aren't going to be right for your company. You're going to also find at times that you're going to deal with certain owners and managers or people who employ you who try to run you absolutely ragged, trying to get you to say how high anytime that they say jump. And again, just like certain people who aren't going to be right for your company, there's going to be certain work that's not right for your company, and there's going to be certain managers or owners or people who are giving you that work who just ain't worth the time nor hassle to have to continue to work for. Some people you're not going to be able to please at all. This ain't going to be everybody. I'm not trying to scare you telling you guys this. Again, these are just things that I learned from all of this. But do the very best that you can. And if you do decide to continue doing that work for them because maybe that's all the work that you have, or maybe because you really don't mind, then go up and beyond any time that you can. Sometimes you might even bring gifts to places that you're either trying to get work at or doing work for. Here's a Starbucks gift card, $25. Coffee's on me today. Thank you for your business, or thank you for your time for at least hearing my pitch, coming in here trying to sell you on my cleaning company doing this work for you. Keep tabs on the people who employ you as well. And I'm not saying stalk these people. That's not what I mean at all. But check up on them. Hey, we haven't heard from you for a week. We didn't have no work with you last week. Why is Molly Maid out here? When you start a business, they don't have to fire you. They can. Believe me, they can, and they will. But they're too nice for that. They're too professional. So what they'll do is they just won't schedule you. So keep tabs. Check in on them. Don't be belligerent. If you realize that there's somebody else out there who's doing the work and potentially you've lost that work and they're not going to give you any more work, take it on the chin. Move on to the next thing. You need a strong team for any business that you start. You need to make sure that you don't bite off more than you can chew. You need to be patient, say no when you have to, and cut your losses when you have to as well. And if it's this type of business that you want to start, whether we're talking landscape cleaning, these two things sound really similar right now. Understand that you can't just start that business and automatically go to boss status. That is very rarely ever gonna work. Somebody commented on a recent vlog that we did, a recent cleaning vlog that we did, and they said, you know, as a business owner, you've got to be willing and able to do like 80% of the work. And in the beginning, that is absolutely true. There ain't no such thing as the boss in the beginning, the guy who just sits back. You're gonna have to get in there and get your hands dirty as well. Because you're not gonna be able to afford to pay all sorts of people and think that you're gonna take a salary for yourself. It just ain't gonna happen. Like I said at the beginning of this, or at least I hope I said this, I don't tell you all of this to scare you and make you not wanna start a business, especially a cleaning business. And I definitely don't want you to take away from this that a cleaning business is a guaranteed failure just waiting to happen. That isn't the case at all. I truly, strongly believe that you can be successful with a cleaning business. We were this close to being successful. But all it takes is this much to fail. Having the wrong people and also not understanding what it entails to have that responsibility yourself as the owner, manager, and supervisor of that sort of work. I take all of the responsibility for why this thing failed. Doesn't matter the mistakes that were made along the way, ultimately, it is my fault. And I'm not saddened by this, even though this past weekend I was a little depressed about it. It sucks to fail at things in life, but I take it on the chin. Now I do. And I'm humbled knowing that I can accept this. And hopefully whatever I decide to dive into next, maybe I'll do a little better, because I most certainly learned some lessons from this venture. I hope that you guys found this video insightful, informative, and useful. And I hope that you enjoyed it. If so, please leave a like and a comment letting me know what you thought about it. And as always, until next time, enjoy life the free world. Never take a moment for granted and make the most of every day. Peace!